Welcome to the Spork Show. A lot to talk about in just a half hour. Mike Max, Patrick Lacey, Lou Nanny, and Sid Hartman.
Yes, sir.
The Grizzly Bear's been growling. Now have that on the air, man. The Metrodome. I can't quite figure out where you're coming at with this whole thing. We said goodbye to it today. The Vikings win a game. Your final thoughts on the Dome?
My thoughts on the Dome at one time. I thought it's a perfect place for the University of Minnesota. They could play baseball there. They could play football there. They could put a track in. They could put big basketball games in there. And some people in the legislature were willing to sell it to the university for $1 at one time.
Okay.
They were going to put a football stadium in another place for the Vikings at the time. And as I sat there today, I figured now they got to replace that indoor track on University Avenue. It's falling apart.
Well, that's not a big enough reason to keep a dome, though, or an indoor track.
I'm just saying, you could put a track in there. Why couldn't you put a track in there?
You can put a track in there, but you don't keep a whole building just because you don't have an indoor track facility that you like.
I just said baseball, football, everything.
But if the Gophers took over the Metrodome, then Ziggy's new building would be in Arden Hills.
It would never be in Arden Hills.
Where's it going to be? Where are you going to put it?
It would probably be where
they couldn't get the dirt there.
Yeah, right. That worked well.
Basilica.
Well, neither was going to happen
piling
anyway.
cost of Arden Hills was prohibitive.
32 years, $55 million, maybe the best investment the state's ever made, Patrick.
Terrific. Now, 55 originally. As they made money, they put more money into it, but
very little.
It was a big deal for the state.
Hold it. But 55 million, you're talking 34 years ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think I saw.
Don't make it sound like it's 55 million today.
No, but
55 million today is worth a lot more.
It'd still only be a 150, something like that.
It's still good. I mean, it's
worth 150 with kind of corridors they got.
Yeah, right.
You only got about two people can walk beside each other.
Right. But I'll tell you what, look at 1989, 1990. They had 41 NBA games. They had the Gopher football team. They had the Vikings, and they had the Twins. It was they got their money's worth. There's no doubt about it. I was a little disappointed in the crowd, though. I didn't see anybody rip out a seat. I didn't see anybody rip anything off the wall. Come on, show a little spunk. Do something. Charge the field.
Enough security there so they couldn't do nothing.
Well, you can look at some of those security folks. They look like they were your age.
Yeah,
right. You could have run by them.
If they could have got
some of those security guys, they were your age.
Sid, if you would have got 400 or 500
security guys today.
If you could have got 400 or 500 people together, you could have charged the field. But they didn't have any spunk in them, so I was very disappointed.
That respect.
Well, and they kept announcing during the game 10 minutes after they're going to do these, which was smart. They have Bud Grant and those guys at the podium, so they stayed around kind of for a program after.
Why didn't they do it before the game when somebody would have been, people would have stayed? You know,
because they did it so nobody go on the field. They knew everybody'd leave by then, so that was enough to keep the people out of there, so they wouldn't have a lot of problems.
Anybody there when Grant and those guys spoke?
Yeah, it was about half full. I came out and took a peek at it.
More people
Robert Smith spoke at halftime, didn't he?
Right, yeah. And then Bud and Adrian Peterson, and that's who I saw speak at the
I think it was a very proper way for the Dome to close, though, with Detroit handing the Vikings victory. Detroit ended up 7-24 in the Metrodome, and lost the 14 of the last 15 in the Metrodome. So, Detroit.
The way you watched it, what'd you think?
Well, it was, I guess, the kind of game you would expect.
Yeah. No Adrian
really,
Peterson, no Calvin Johnson.
Like the emotion wasn't as much as you see, and I think there were some mistakes that you normally wouldn't see if the teams were fired up. I mean, watch that and then watch the next game, Chicago and Green Bay. The kind of intensity and emotion was completely different.
What a fantastic 3 o'clock game, so to speak.
That was unbelievable.
You got Kansas City going to overtime with San Diego, and San Diego online. You got San Francisco and Arizona going down to the wire. I mean, in the NFL, one of the things that they've done that's been smart is, in the last few years, you always play division team the last game of the year. So you've always got, when you do that, by math, you always have some good...
It's amazing it took them so long to figure that out, isn't it?
Yeah. How about the Green Bay?
Wasn't that something?
It was unbelievable. How many times they converted 4th down. All the difference in the world. That's why, that was something that they kept them out last week when they could have been out of it had Chicago won. And they kept him out, and he comes back and he wins the game for him today. It's amazing.
Chicago got killed by Philadelphia. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, but did you see Aaron Rodgers? Did you watch Aaron Rodgers today? Did you watch the game?
No, I couldn't watch the game.
Yeah, 4th down, and he makes this play out of nowhere for a touchdown to win the game.
But they had 3 or 4 fourth downs that he had.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But, you know, he never throws a bad ball when it's an important time. It's never a place where somebody else can get it when the game's on the line.
He doesn't believe in turnovers, that's for sure. Yeah. He's a cautious fellow to some degree.
They ain't going to go far in the playoffs, so.
They get San Francisco at home either Saturday or Sunday.
Is Mark Trestman going to take some heat there in Chicago for the way they finished?
The way they finished, they had a million injuries.
Yeah.
No quarterback.
Green Bay kind of did, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Green Bay didn't have many injuries.
No, just their best defensive player.
Just your best defensive and offensive player.
Defensive player and their quarterback.
I'm not. I'm just saying everybody has these injuries. I asked, do you think he's going to take some heat?
How about the Cleveland Browns? They're going to 1 year. Boom, they're going to fire their coach after 1 year. They're crazy.
We'll talk with the Vikings coach when we come back.
Stay with us. Got it.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing. And Cuisine Concepts. Franklin Street Bakery at 11th and Franklin in South Minneapolis, just down from Mall of America Field. And Taste of the NFL. Proud to be the premier Super Bowl party with a purpose to support hunger relief locally and nationally.
Quality. It's the result of shared values. The joy found in an honest day's work. Respect for true American craftsmanship and the need, not the want, to get things right. It's the result of remembering your roots, being forever humbled by how far you've traveled and forever hungry to push on further. Quality is a result. Quality is who we are. Cambria. Family owned, American made.
At Dale Festi Automotive, we know you don't want to trust your car to just anybody. That's why we only hire ASE certified technicians to get the job right the first time. This commitment to excellence has led to being selected AAA Top Shop 12 years running. If you want your car fixed right the first time, bring it to Dale Festi Automotive in Hopkins. On the corner of 18th and Main Street and on the web at dalefestiautomotive.com. Mention that you saw this ad and get 15% off labor and installation.
Ho, ho, ho. At 100 calories, not all food choices add up. Some are giant, some not so giant. When managing your weight, bigger is always better.
Ho, ho, ho. Green Giant.
Progresso's so passionate about its new tomato Florentine soup, it took a little time to get it just right. But finally, it happened. Perfection. At Progresso, we've got a passion for quality because you've got a passion for taste.
Chevy year-end events, great time to buy an all-new Silverado.
This interior is incredible.
And that nav is perfect for my long trips up north this time of year.
Oh, how far up north?
Akron.
Akron's nice.
Chevy's giving more. This holiday season, Chevy's giving more. Trade up to get this 2014 Silverado All-Star V6 for a total value of $4,250. Plus, get $1,000 trade assistance when you trade in an eligible vehicle. Hurry, offer ends January 2nd.
Audi A4 drivers have spoken. And they rank the A4 highest in total quality index in its class. Experience the new Audi A4 at your local dealer today.
Looking for a nice, big, juicy rack of ribs, fabulous chops, huge steaks, and the Buddy Bowl? Then J.D. Hoyts is the place for you. Hoyts opened in 1983, and Mike Andrews and his partner John White have kept this Minnesota tradition at the top of the food chain. Managing owner Pat Montague gives us a tour.
At J.D. Hoyts, enjoy a relaxed atmosphere, great food, friendly service, private dining room, second-to-none happy hour, just blocks from the new ballpark.
Located at 394 in North Washington. Locally owned, nationally known. Hoyts.
There it is. Stop on by for New Year's. Great place to spend New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. J.D. Hoyts in downtown Minneapolis. Before we talk about the Vikings coaching staff, next year at this time, if they play that game at TCF Bank Stadium today and it's this cold, and the Vikings are out of it like this year, how many people will show up?
How many people will show up? A lot of those lunatics will show up because they can drink and get drunk and tailgate, and that's part of the deal. I want to ask you, you seem to know everything.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know everything. Tell me what's going to happen tomorrow. Normally, Mark Wolf and Ziggy Wolf go back to Jersey right after the game. They're hanging around tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to meet with the team at 9 o'clock, the coaches are, and then people are wondering if there's going to be a meeting between Frazier and the Wilfs. After that, most people seem to think that Leslie's on his way out, and that the question then is going to become, is Rick Spielman, who's already got a list of candidates that he wants to talk to or has talked to in place, is there any chance the Wilfs would go over his head and say we want a big name? Because if they leave it to Spielman, people think he'll hire somebody more that he can control.
Well, for your information, all the assistant coaches get paid next year, too.
Well, that's standard in most places.
No, that's not standard.
Lots of them have a rollover contract.
No, it hasn't been in the past with the Vikings.
What's your point?
Assistant coach, it's a lot of money for the Wolves to come up with to get rid of that whole staff.
Yeah, and there's a lot of money in seat licenses sitting out there that they think they got to sell, too. Patrick?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not pretending to know. I assume he's gone, and you know, I assume that when they didn't give him an extension, he entered this season in double secret probation, and they had a lousy year. So
well, the other
I
part,
would guess he's gone.
When he was hired as the coach to replace Childress, you know, they didn't really consult that much with Spielman. Now Spielman, they've given this authority to, so a lot of people believe that Spielman was never really, that he lost the battle initially, and so he's never really been his guy. Louis, make a case why you'd bring him back and why he should go as a general manager.
Well, first of all, I'd bring him back because he was 10-6 last year, or whatever the record. They made the playoffs. Yep. This year they didn't. They had quarterback problems, but he sort of insinuated today, I don't know if you saw it, that it wasn't his choice to play Ponder all the time. And it was a group decision, meaning it wasn't my decision. So if it's not his decision and he was in the playoffs last year, then how do you fire him?
Well, I don't know, but you've got to have a formula that you use internally, I guess, as to whether or not he's got to go in the right direction.
Let me tell you one thing. Well, I don't think there's a big name to hire.
No, I don't.
I think it's all nonsense. We're going to get John Gruden or something. John Gruden's not coming here if you give him $8 million a year. They're not going to hire a big name. Who wants to come here and coach a team without a quarterback? And 2 years, and you're going outside for 2 years. If you were going into the new building next year, maybe. But I don't think there's a big name to be had. If you get rid of Les, you end up getting Ken Wisenhunt or somebody like that.
If they go to an assistant, they'll talk to Darrell Bevel.
Lovie Smith.
Lovie Smith's probably the biggest name out there. But Smith's
kind of do that?
I'm just telling you, I don't think internally it'll be Smith.
No. All the big names out there, Bill Parcells gets on TV, gets a lot of money, don't want to coach anymore.
God, he's 70.
Gruden, don't want to coach anymore.
Cowher.
Tony Dungy, don't want to coach anymore. They ain't going to get anybody big to take that job.
I don't think Spielman wants a big name.
The more I think of it, they'll keep him for 1 year maybe, and not spend all the money. They don't have to sell those license seats till next year. Till the stadium is up, people know exactly where they want to sit, and they want to see what it's all about, and they're not going to buy this stuff in advance.
Houston, it sounds like Houston's going to have the Bill O'Brien deal wrapped up before the Vikings even get a chance to talk.
Yeah, at least they're talking a lot to him.
So, and I don't know, any of these college guys want to make the switch. David Shaw says he's not leaving Stanford. He'd be a good candidate, but I don't know.
Well, I still, actually, in the seat license said they do have to make decisions next year because it's people who have seats have the first crack at those seats if they want to pay the seat license. Well, they're not going to give us 2 years to make that decision. They'll lay a time limit up before then because they have to know whether those seats are going to be available for others.
Who's in and who's not.
Yeah.
I think that's going to come back to Spielman getting.
I don't think you'll have to write out the check, but you'll have to commit.
Right.
I think they'll have a hard time selling as many license seats as they think they will. I do. I've been talking to guys, I mentioned this before. Guys open the door at the end of the season. They got Timberwolf tickets. They got Wild tickets. They got baseball tickets. They got everything, and they don't use them. So they're not going to go spend all that money for license fees. Some companies aren't, if they're not going to use the tickets.
Have they set the price for the license fees or not?
No,
we're still waiting to hear.
Don't know anything.
They're still trying to figure it out, so nobody can say yes or no yet.
I don't know if they have the official design of what the interior of the stadium is going to look like, right?
Yeah, what seats you're going to be wearing, and what your sight line's going to be on. Is that what you're waiting on, Louis?
Yeah, they're going to have to figure out just where the cutoff's going to be for the premium seat, the next level, et cetera. Because you're talking significant dollars for the
All I know is after 2 Decembers outdoors, though, they're going to have people fully willing to go back inside.
Maybe they should wait for 2 years.
Right.
I got one more Viking question for you, though. Do you think this team is a good quarterback away from being a good team, or do you think they have that good quarterback in place?
No, I don't think a quarterback is one of their problems. When you got Blanton playing in the secondary, you got some of those guys playing in the secondary, you're in trouble. You got one linebacker, you got Greenway. You're going to lose Allen. You're going to lose
Williams.
Tell me how you're going to replace all those people. The one great thing he's done is that Cordell Patterson, to me, will go down as one of the greatest players ever played for this organization.
I don't know if he will, but he's certainly a great draft pick so far.
Yep.
Huh?
Looks good so far.
I mean, man, you can find ways to get him the ball. Take a break, come back.
He's a two.
Attention, please get a pencil. Announcing a hearing breakthrough, a microchip that is so small it can fit on the head of a pen. Worn hidden entirely in your ear canal, making you hear clear as a bell. And it's proudly made in the USA. Do you feel left out of conversations? Is it difficult to hear words in noisy environments? Do others say that you listen to the TV or radio too loudly? Do you feel like a bother to others due to your problems hearing? If you answered yes, you may qualify for this new chip in the ear. Only 50 participants are needed to try this microchip, so get a pencil. Call now to see if you qualify. This revolutionary chip actually mimics the natural sound selection of the human ear. With multi-core microprocessors, technology used in the most advanced computers, sounds are analyzed and classified each millisecond, controlling noise and making speech clear. Do not wait. Call now to see if you qualify to wear this revolutionary new microchip.
Evidence that proves my dad's a space alien. Speaks a weird language. Drinks green stuff. He says he's from Albuquerque. I'm not buying it. I mean, just look at him. And one more thing. He has a spaceship. The evidence doesn't lie. My dad is an alien.
The highly advanced Audi A6, named to Car and Driver's 10 Best. Experience exceptional value on the Audi A6 at your local dealer today.
Audi Minneapolis, stop on by, see the gang. This, I tell you what, as you head towards the new year, get into that Q7, the all-wheel drive. And I think you'll enjoy the ride. Q7, Q5, across the board, they've got it going on. Stop by, see Bruce and the gang right off of General Mills Boulevard. Welcome back to the Sports Show. Gopher football team, tough bowl loss. The kid makes the catch at the end. He's got 2 touchdowns. Leitner's got 3. You got a whole different feel.
Well, that kid almost made the Hail Mary.
He almost, well, he could have. It was right there.
Well, I think there'll be a better football team next year. 3 stars of the game were all freshmen. The quarterback, Maxie Williams, and the kid from California. And 7 other freshmen played too. So I think they'll be pretty good next year. I think that even though Mr. Rice, he's talking about Syracuse getting beat 56-0, they're a pretty good football team.
Oh, come on, Sam. God almighty. They got beat 56-0 by Georgia Tech.
By good teams.
They stink.
Great team.
Georgia Tech is not a great team. Georgia Tech is 7-5.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech's as mediocre as you get. You get beat 56-0. Don't try to tell me they're a good team.
Year.
What's that?
They can't help it be better next year.
Well, Louis, are we talking about the same thing as the Vikings here? A quarterback will determine it?
Well, maybe Leitner's, Leitner's getting better.
Saying,
I don't know. I don't know if the Gophers are that desperate a quarterback. If they're I think they're in a better situation than the Vikings are right now for long range for a quarterback. I think the Vikings still don't know what they want to have for a quarterback next year.
They got
all depends on the draft. They
got another kid who might be #1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Gophers are better. Yeah. They're in a better position, I think, than I think the Vikings are right now.
Regardless of what you geniuses all think, Ponder will go to training camp as a #1 quarterback.
Why?
Because they still think he can do it.
Then why did they not play him? Why did they not play him at the end of the year?
They told him that they wanted to make a decision on Cassell. And they were going to play Cassell to make a decision on him.
And you think they made the decision they're not going to bring him back?
I don't know. I didn't think you set the world on fire today.
No, he's just he had 2 bad games to end the season. I don't know.
I think they keep coming up with stories as to why they're doing things. If they had a quarterback they liked, he would have been playing.
Stories crap. This comes from people who, who have something to say.
It's a story that they tell people to try to...
I'm out there every day, Mr. Rice. I'm out there every day, Mr. Rice.
I'm just telling you.
You're there once a year.
Sid, they're just telling people... They're trying to explain the chaos at quarterback any way they can. That's what they're doing.
Who else do you love beside Ponder? What other guy in the team do you love beside Ponder that you're going to want to keep?
They will definitely keep Ponder.
Yeah, no.
Ponder being training camp.
No, but who else do you love? I mean, I love the way you love Ponder. So I want to know who else is your favorite player. How about Patterson?
He's not
you like
my
Patterson?
favorite player. But they don't have
a quarterback.
They don't have a quarterback better than him. The guy today was just ordinary.
Okay. So Josh Freeman
won't even come. They won't even talk to him.
Yeah, that didn't go so well.
That was the coach's decision. He wanted to bring him in.
Yes, it was.
But he never got to play him.
He played him that one game.
No, the one game was the only thing. That's not playing him. He got him after 4 days.
But
never got to play.
No, but I mean, it's a 53-man roster the coach controls. He can play him again if he wants.
Well, not
so you saying he didn't have the power?
Not the way he insinuated today.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. Take a break, come back. Sports Show.
If you have a quarterback like Manny.
If you guys could go on a free shopping spree anywhere, where would you go? I'd go to the grocery store. Pizza, ice cream. I'd go shop for clothes. You know where I go? I'd go to Ticket King. Ticket King! At Ticket King, you can buy great seats for the Vikings, Christian Ponder, the Wild, Zach Parisi, the Timberwolves, Ricky Rubio, and of course the Twins. We love the Twins. Yes, this is where I go. Vikings, Twins, Wild, Timberwolves, Gophers, theater, and concerts too. Justin Bieber! Hey, I like him first. For details, go to TicketKingOnline.com. Any ticket, anytime, anywhere. It's the real thing. It's Ticket King. Right, Dad?
Couldn't have said it any better myself.
That's for sure.
Hi, I'm Daryl Johnston. Once again, Taste of the NFL is the hottest ticketed Super Bowl. Join me, along with countless other NFL stars, as we take over Brooklyn on Saturday, February 1st, for the annual Party with a Purpose, where food, football, and fun come together to help kick hunger in America. For tickets or more information, visit tasteofthenfl.com.
Party with a Purpose and then some help Minnesota win in the fight against hunger. TasteTheNFL.com will give you all the information. Wayne Kostrowski and the crew ready for a great Super Bowl party as they do each and every year. And Wayne does a great job with it. Welcome back to the Sports Show.
He made a catch right in front of the...
Wait, now you got to explain who you're talking about, because this is a continuation of the commercial break. Who are you talking about? Patterson.
He made a catch in front of the Viking bench, as good a catch as you'll ever make.
Ever? Well, I've seen better catches.
Oh,
it was a good catch, but I've seen better catches.
Very good catch.
I think I've seen better catches.
You might have seen better catches, but he's pretty good.
Now, you like to go first each segment, but you can defer if you want. Minnesota Wild. Do you want to comment on him, or should we go right to Louis?
He's Minnesota Wild, man.
Okay, I just wanted to be polite. Louis?
Well, Sid told me Well, the Wild are really struggling on the road. They're still struggling scoring goals. Tonight they're leading the Islanders 3-1, so hopefully they're getting out of their funk scoring, and they play better at home. Their goaltending with Backstrom wasn't great. All the last 2-3 games, they could have won the games, but they didn't score enough except in the Winnipeg game. And Winnipeg got a couple of fluky goals there. One a deflection, another one a scramble.
Blake Wheeler.
Wheeler's but Wheeler's been playing well since he went to Boston. He played well in Boston. He's played very well for Winnipeg last year, this year. He's got 12, 13 goals. He's, a kid's got a lot of talent.
How about the coach?
How about the coach?
Is he a good coach?
Yeah, I think he's a good coach. I believe he's a good coach.
They got 9 out of 13 at home. When that stretch is over, you can find out if they're back in the playoffs or not.
You still have to have scoring, Sid, and a coach can't score goals. He can help you design plays, but we knew going into the season, that's one thing we talked about on the show early on. Are they going to be able to get to 205, 210 goals? Because I think that's what they might need to make the playoffs. And right now, they're not scoring at the pace they should score at. They're one of the lowest-scoring teams in the league.
I think if Jack was coaching this team, they'd be a little better.
Yeah,
they wouldn't be scoring many more goals. They might be giving up a couple less, but Jock, Mike Yo's probably letting the offense go a little more than Jock would have it, especially when you're not scoring goals. You could expect Jock to really pull back and play tight.
Patrick, the same thing for the Timberwolves. They get a more favorable schedule now. Can they make hay?
They've won the first 2 of what could be 8 in a row if they play, because they got 6 of 8 at home, and they got 2 winnable road games, and they've already won one of them. And they play Oklahoma City here, but Russell Westbrook's out. So, they got, right now, they go to San Antonio January 12th. Between now and then, they could win 8 in a row if they want to.
Sidney, how do you feel about the Timberwolves right now?
Pardon me?
How do you feel about the Timberwolves right now?
They're not as good as I thought they'd be. I thought they'd be much better. I'm not impressed with Rubio. I mean, he was a much better player last year. He can't make a shot. He turns the ball over. I don't know. I don't think Flip Saunders, we had him on the air today, he thinks they're right where he thought they'd be.
He does,
Shabazz, I was glad to see Shabazz Muhammad played last night
against Milwaukee.
He played 2 minutes, and he equaled his 5th highest point total of the year, 0.
Gopher basketball.
He's got 4 twice and 2 twice. They got a break. Michigan's big center's not going to. The McGarry kid, who's a preseason All-American, had back surgery, so that's a nice break.
Beat Michigan.
Well, why wouldn't they? Michigan's best player's not playing.
I was there, what night it was? Thursday, Friday, whatever night it was. They have no size to rebound. They got Walker.
I asked Patino if he'd play Eliason and Walker together at some point during the Big Ten. He says, no way.
Do what?
Play Patino and Eliason together, or excuse me, Eliason and Walker together in the Big Ten.
They'll beat Michigan. Without McGarry, they'll beat Michigan.
What are the expectations, Louis, from your inner circle in the university?
Everybody knew that they weren't going to be a great team going in, but I think Rick's done a heck of a job coaching them, and I think that they could steal some games that people don't expect them to win. I don't expect them to be a great team in the Big Ten, but I think that they're going to win some games they shouldn't.
Gopher hockey going to win the Big Ten?
Oh, I think without a doubt. Are
they ever going to play another game? That's what I want to know. I thought they dropped the sport. They haven't played in about 3 weeks.
Every year.
Every week. They haven't played since, I looked to see where the hell are they?
They got the World Junior Tournament going on.
I know.
So they cut the schedule for colleges and juniors to allow players to go.
Okay.
But they're a good team.
Did we win today? Did we win in the junior?
8-0. We beat West Germany.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quart surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing. And Cuisine Concepts. Franklin Street Bakery at 11th and Franklin in South Minneapolis, just down from Mall of America Field. And Taste of the NFL. Proud to be the premier Super Bowl party with a purpose to support hunger relief locally and nationally.